and welcome to our Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today, again, we will continue chapter 3 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Before that, we do some Mangalacharan prayer. So, whoever knows, they can also recite along with me. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksuramilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaisnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padana Sagana Lalita Sri Visakhan Vidanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrisabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratu Se Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nastaprayesu Abhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Hare Krishna to everyone, and we heartily welcome you all for Srimad Bhagavatam class this evening. In chapter 3, we already have done 2 classes. We will just recap or review whatever we have done very briefly and move forward. As we know, in the beginning of the chapter, the creation of material world is described, in which you see this Mahavishnu sleeping in Karan ocean, glanced over material sky and created multiple universes. You can see that universe is coming out from his skin pores of the body, each universe. And each universe has a Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, which you can see in this slide on a little larger scale. Garbhodakshaya is lying down on a bed of serpent. Lakshmi is massaging his feet. And Lord Brahma was born from the lotus flower that is emanated from the navel of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And with Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, there is Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, which pervades everywhere in each and every living entity and each and every atom. And then the second part of this chapter that we are discussing now is different incarnations of the Lord. Okay. Sutta Goswami, is describing this to the sages in Naimisaranya. 88,000 rishis assembled there under the leadership of Savanaka Muni. So why Krishna incarnates? So he descends when the demons in this material world disturb the devotees, Lord Krishna comes from the spiritual world as different incarnations to protect his devotees, And some of these incarnations are Lord Krishna himself, and some are saintly persons with Lord Krishna's special power, which we will learn today. So Lord Krishna comes so many times in different forms that you cannot even count them, But in this chapter, they have described 22 different incarnations of the Lord. And there are 6 types of incarnations, like Yuga Avatar, Purusha Avatar, Guna Avatar, Sakyaves Avatar, Leela Avatar, and Manvandana Avatar, okay? So, and out of which we already have learned the first incarnation called Kumaras, Chatus Kumaras. They are born from Brahma's mind. We learn about that thing. So we'll quickly go to another one. The second incarnation of Lord is Vara, which is pig, and pig, he appears from the nose of Brahma to save the earth. You can see that he is holding the earth on the tusk. So this is the second incarnation that we have learned. Third, we learn about Narad Muni. Okay. So in the millennium of the Rishis, the personality of God accepted this third empowered incarnation in the form of Devarsi Narad, who is a great sage among, and this Narad Muni took form. Why Narad Muni appeared? He appeared to preach devotional service, Then we will go to the fourth incarnation, which is called Nar and Narayan. You can see that. And Nar and Narayan are, as we have learned before, they are Arjuna and Krishna, just for your information. We'll learn about this thing, and then we'll learn about Kapil Bhagwan, fifth incarnation. Kapil Bhagwan, here you can see, he is son of Kardama Muni, and his mother is Devhuti. She's sitting here and learning from her son, Kapil Bhagwan. Kapil Bhagwan teaches the Sankhya Yoga, actually the devotional service through the Mata Devhuti in this thing. So that is the fifth carnation of Kapil Bhagwan, Kapil Dev, you can say. So it is said that the fifth incarnation named Lord Kapil is foremost among perfected beings. He gave an exposition of the creative elements and metaphysics to Asuri Brahman. For in course of time, this knowledge had been lost. So this is just a historical event. Now, today we're going to begin with this incarnation, sixth incarnation called Dattatreya. Okay, so it is Dattatreya incarnation, as it is stated here in this slide. It is the sixth incarnation of the Purusha, was the son of sage Atri, and his mother name was Anasuya. He born from the womb of Anasuya. Now, how that happened, we will see here. She prayed actually for an incarnation. Now, the Dattatreya is what he did. Okay, so we're gonna learn about Dattatreya briefly, because when we go further in Srimad Bhagavatam, we will learn more about Dattatreya also. Like he made 24 gurus and so forth, the whole story will. But right now we will just look at this as an incarnation, as kind of a brief history of it, okay? So, as I mentioned, he was son of sage Atri and Ansuya. Atri was the son of Brahma. As we know, Brahma was created on that lotus flower. So here is the creation of population been started, that Brahma created from his different limbs some sages, which includes Atri also. So there are two main sages, Atri and also Marichi. Okay. Now from Atri, there was a moon dynasty in which Lord Krishna will appear at the end. And in Marichi is a sun dynasty, Surya, okay, in which Ramchandra will come in this dynasty. Okay, just for you to know at this point, not in detail, but just information. So here, Atri and Ansuya, they started a moon dynasty. Okay, so Atri came from Brahma, and Ansuya is basically one of the 9 daughters of Devhuti. Now, where Devhuti came from is that from Brahma, after creating so many sages, there was no population increase. So Lord Brahma created Swayambhu Manu and Satrupa, a couple, sort of. From that point on, we can see the birth process, in human civilization. From that point on, we see these things. So Swayambhu Manu and Satrupa has 2 sons and 3 daughters. Okay, so 2 sons are Priyavat and Uttanpad, which we'll learn later on, but they have also 3 daughters, Prasuti, Devhuti, and Akuti. So this is from the very beginning of Srushti. You can see very beginning of the creation, the girls are more, like 3 daughters and 2 sons. So we should not complain about having more girls, So Prasuti, Devhuti, and Akuti. So here Devhuti have 9 daughters, when he married to Kardama Muni. So Kardama Muni is also the son of Lord Brahma, which he created from his shadow. Okay, so now this Devhuti, the Ansuya, is one of the 9 daughters of Devhuti. That is, I want to just bring up to the point. Okay, and then little information on the Dattatreya incarnation is like, it is mentioned here that the Lord incarnated himself as Dattatreya, and the history is given in the Brahmanda Purana. Okay, but it is said that Ansuya, the wife of Atri Rusi, she prayed before the Lord Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva that I would like to have a combined form in my son. My Lord, if you are pleased with me, and if you desire me to ask from you some sort of blessing, then I pray that you combine together to become my son. That is how the Dattatreya incarnation came about. So Dattatreya is combination of Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Vishnu. Okay, and then Dattatreya has his own philosophy which he propagated, and he taught to Alarka, Prahlad, Yadu, etc. So this is little bit information about the 6th incarnation of Dattatreya. Now we'll move forward to the 7th incarnation, which is Yagna. Okay, so here the Yagnadev, the 7th incarnation was Yagna, the son of Prajapati Ruchi and his wife Akuti. I just mentioned about Akuti, right? She is the daughter of Swayambhu and Satrupa. Out of these 3 daughters, Akuti, Prasuti, and Devhuti. So Akuti married to Ruchi Rusi here, okay? And they have a son called Yagna, all right? And Prasuti has daughters. One of them was Sati, given to Lord Shiva. So this is just little information for you. But we will move forward from this point that Ruchi Rusi and Akuti has a son named Yagna. Now, the history behind that is that in the administrative post occupied by the demigod for maintenance of the regulations of material world, sometimes what happen, there is a scarcity of pious living entity. So Lord himself comes to take the function of that post. In other words, living entity can move up to the level of Brahma or Indra, like that, But sometimes there is no such qualified living entity to take the post of Brahma or Indra or whatever. During that time, Lord himself comes and occupies this post for the particular function of that post during that time. So what happened here during the period of Swayambhu Manu, which was earlier first Manu, right now our time is the seventh Manu, which is called Vaivasat Manu. Okay. So in a day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus. Okay. So 6 already passed. We are on the 7th. And there are some more to come to finish 14, which is day of Brahma. So you can say we are in the middle day of Brahma at this point, according to the cosmic timetable. Okay. So this is the situation where we are. But this Yagnadev we're talking about had happened during the period of Swayambhu Manu. At that time, there was no suitable living being who could occupy the post of Indra. Therefore, Lord himself became Indra, and assisted this administrative position. So at that time, and his son was Yam and the other demigod, and they ruled over the administration of the universal affairs. So this is kind of a brief history of Yagnadev. We move forward to the 8th incarnation, which is King Rushabdev. Those who have heard Srimad Bhagavatam Katha, they may was son of King Nabhi and Meru Devi. Okay, and King Nabhi comes in the dynasty of Priyavat. I just talked about Uttanpad and Priyavat, son of Swayambhu Manu and Satroparai. So the Priyavat, in Priyavat dynasty, this Nabhi comes, and so King Rushabdev himself has 100 sons, and the eldest, his name is Bharat, came about. Okay, from whom India was named as Bharat. And then 9 became Yogendras, and 81 became Brahmanas, and 9 became sort of a king of the islands. And that is the brief history of sons of Rushabdev. So I'll little bit talk about Rushabdev here. It is said here in this slide, you can see King Rushabdev. 8th incarnation was King Rushabh, son of King Nabhi and his wife Meru Devi. In this incarnation, the Lord showed the path of perfection. So that is what he came. He instructed his 100 sons, how to do tapasya, which is followed by those who have fully controlled their senses and who are honored by all orders of. So, as it is mentioned a little bit about during this King Rushabdev incarnation, what is explained here, he came here to show the path of perfection. Now, how will you attain the path of perfection? So there is a administration which is organized by Lord Krishna himself. He says in Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvarna Maya Srustam Guna Karma Vibhagasa. Varna and ashram system for the upkeepment of the society has been given by Lord Krishna himself. So I will explain a little bit about it, which means there are 8 orders totally. Okay, out of 8, the 4 divisions of occupation. Okay, for divisions like for cultural advancement. And they are called Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra. Brahman being intelligent class, Kshatriya is like administrative or protective class, and Vaishya, which is productive, means they take care of farming and trade and like go seva, like the protection of cows, brahmanas, and so forth. And then the labor class is considered like a Shudra. And also there are 4 classes of spiritual order, which is called Brahmacharya life. Okay, so celibate life they call it. And then householder life, it is Grahastha life. Then Vanprastha life, it is retired life. And then the sannyas life, which is renunciate order of the spiritual realization sort of it. So out of this, the renounced order of life or the order of sannyas is considered highest of all. And a sannyasi is constitutionally the spiritual master of orders of division. In the sannyas order also, there are 4 stages. There are 4 kind of sannyasi also, they are like categorized as Putichak, Bahudak, Parivedakacharya, and Paramhamsa. Don't have to go too much detail into it. Parivedakacharya is one who preaches Krishna consciousness. As you see in this ISKCON movement, all these sannyasis are Parivedakacharyas. And Paramhamsa is kind of in a topmost stage. Okay, they are engaged in the bhajan 24 hours like that. So here it is also mentioned that it is very important that in human life, one has to perform the tapascharya to perfect the life for spiritual realization. And that is what the aim and objective of this Rushabdev. He instructed his sons to follow the path of perfection by tapasya, which sanctifies one's existence and enables one to attain the stage of spiritual happiness, which is eternal and ever increasing. And it gives you happiness forever. So that was the teaching that he did, But we can see that foolish men seek after material sense pleasure as a substitute for real pleasure. But such foolish men forget that temporary so-called happiness derived from sense pleasure is also enjoyed by the dogs and hogs. Animals have the same propensity, right? So the 4 activities that we do, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, the animal also do, and human also do it. So, but human race, human species have special function. Their aim in the life is to realize themselves or to realize the love of God. They have to attain the spiritual perfection. And that is why King Rishabdev also appeared here. You can see that. So, if we do not perform this activity and elevate ourselves or perfect our human life to achieve the real destination, which is spiritual dham, spiritual abode of Lord Krishna, there is no difference between animal life and human life, because animal has a 4 leg and human has a 2 leg. So they sometimes call uncivilized human as a dvipad pasu, means 2-legged animal, okay, like that. So we have to be familiar with the information that in every species of life, like there are so many species of life that we have learned, 6 types of species we learned previously, right? Some of them are in aquatics, fish-like, some of them are trees and plants, some of them are reptiles, snakes, insects, some of them are birds, some of them are animals, 30 lakhs, and 4 lakhs as human being, So this we learn for every species of life, including human form of life, such happiness is uh, immensely obtainable. Okay, human form of life is not meant for cheap happiness. Human life is meant for attaining eternal and unlimited happiness by spiritual realization. Okay, so this spiritual realization is obtained by tapasya, or performing devotional service, in other words, also. Now, those who have been trained, they are called wise persons, and because of their wise, they can accept the orders of sannyas, and they can gradually rise to the status of Paramahamsa, which is adored by all members of the society. So the main activity and function of King Rishabdev is, and his mission is that to propagate this process by which human race, human species can advance themselves in spiritual life. Now, the end of Rishabdev's life, at the last stage, he becomes completely aloof from the material bodily needs, which is a rare stage not to be imitated by foolish men, but to be worshipped by all. So, and most of, I don't know whether you know or not, but from Rishabdev, after there, some people try to follow in a foolish way. And from that point on, there was also the beginning of Jainism. Jain Dharma started just blindly following the activities of Rishabdev, sort of. So that was a kind of a history from Srimad Bhagavatam, from where this Jain Dharma is also one of the Hindu religion is began. So now we'll move to the next one, which is 9th incarnation, which is called Maharaj Pruthu. Okay, so Pruthu Maharaj, oh Brahmanas, so here Sutta Goswami is saying, he's addressing to these sages, and that's why they, is the O Brahmanas. He's giving the answer to them. In the 9th incarnation, accept the body of a king, Pruthu, accepted the body of King Pruthu, who cultivated the land to yield various produce. And for that reason, the earth was beautiful and attractive. So this is regarding Pruthu Maharaj. He came in dynasty of Uttanpad. We saw that the king Rishabdev came in dynasty of Priyavat. So similarly, Uttanpad was another son of Swayambhu, Manu, and Satrupa, and Pruthu Maharaj came in that dynasty. In other words, after Uttanpad, there was Dhruv Maharaj, his son, then Anga, and Vena, and Pruthu. So Vena was a bad king. He did not administer his subject very well. So which we will a little bit new from this history here regarding the Pruthu Maharaj, about how he came about and what is his mission is. Okay, so before the advent of King Pruthu, there was a great havoc of in the administration of the that particular kingdom. So what happened? The father of Maharaj Pruthu, who was, I said, Vena, he was not a good king. So what happened during those days, when the king is bad, there are Rusis which are guiding the king. That's why actually the king who follows Rusis, they were called Raj Rusi, you know. So they have a committee of Rusis and the king was guided by them. So here, because king was so bad, what this Rusi's intelligent class, the sages, were they decided and they prayed for the Lord that you please come down now. And what they have dethroned this king, right? Sometimes it happens when president or king, somebody is not at a good standing, then the common public will make a havoc. I mean, sort of a rebellious action, and they will dethrone them. In USA, we see about that president. Who was that? Uh, yeah. So sometimes if they are not acting rightfully, then the sages will dethrone them. So it is the duty of the king to be pious and thus look after all around welfare of the citizens. So whenever there is some negligence on the part of the king in discharging his duty, the intelligent class of man must dethrone him. So that is what happened here in this case also. Okay. So, and as a result, the Prithu Maharaj was descended, as we can see here, because Rusis, they were not occupying, they were not occupying any throne. And because of their prayer, this Maharaj Prithu, because they had to the kingdom, they need a good king to rule on. So here, real intelligent or qualified Brahmana never aspire for political post. And Maharaj Prithu, his mission was that he excavated many produces from the earth, and thus not only did the citizens become happy to have such a good king, but the complete side of the earth also became beautiful and attractive. So there is a Prithu Maharaj episode we will learn in Srimad Bhagavatam as we go further, whole story. What it is an incarnation of Prithu. I have just briefly described about his advent, about his incarnation, So here it also one time happened that in Prithu Maharaj's court, these four Sanat Kumar, the first incarnation of, they came and they are, you can see that Prithu Maharaj is listening from them, because he was a real good king. Okay, so with this incarnation now, we will move this information. Let's see, we will go to the 10th incarnation now, okay, which is Matsya Avatar, fish incarnation, okay, very important fish incarnation. In Jayadev Goswami's Dasavatar Stotra, this is the first incarnation. We'll look into that also later on. But the Matsya Avatar we'll go through in a little bit. Let's see. It says here, when there was a complete inundation after the period of the Chaksus Manu, and the whole world was deep within water, the Lord accepted the form of a fish and protected Vaivasat Manu, keeping him up on a boat. So let's see how that happened. So fish incarnation of the Lord is very prominent one. It is counted among 10 main incarnation also. Now, some may wonder, how come Lord came as a fish? But as we see, he came as a vara also, like boar, he will come as kurma, tortoise also. So the Supreme Personality of a Godhead, although appearing sometimes as a human being, sometimes as a lower animal, like fish, vara, kurma, tortoise, right, boar. So, but he is always transcendental, even in a fish incarnation. Okay, so we have to remember that in whichever species he will go, he will be transcendental all the time. That means he's above the three modes of material nature. He's spiritual, basically. Okay. So now, interesting thing to know is this fish avatar came 2 times. Just like we learn about Varaha avatar, boar incarnation also came 2 times. You know, the Varaha avatar came to save the earth, and also we knew that he came from the Brahma's nose. But similarly, Vara has in 2 different millennium. Okay, one time he came as a Svet Vara, means white boar, and next time he came as a red Vara, means Rakta, like Vara. So there are two similarly fish incarnation also. So in his first appearance as a fish, when at the end of Brahma's day, the day of Brahma, I went through the cosmic timetable last time. So you should know the Brahma's day is very long. So at the end of the Brahma's day, he felt sleepy and he desired to lie down. So at that time, when he lie down, the Vedas were emanating from his mouth, because that Veda was given to him by Krishna. How did Krishna give Veda to Brahma? By blowing his flute. See, Krishna is playing his flute and this sound vibration enters into the ears of Brahma. Okay, and that is how Brahma knew the Vedic knowledge. And then Brahma all the time recites these Vedas. So at the evening time or at the end of the day, when he desired to lie down, the Vedas were emanating from his mouth. At that time, a great demon, his name was Haigriva. Haigriva, he stole that Vedic knowledge. Because Brahma was in a sleep, so he came and stole it. Therefore, the Supreme Lord Krishna assumed the form of a fish, and saved the Vedas by killing the demon Haigriva. Now you can see that because everything was inundated by water, to save the Vedas, it was necessary for the Lord to become a fish, because there was nothing but water, So he has to become a fish and save the Vedas. So this happened during the beginning of Swayambhu Manu. Now the second appearance that is happened is during the end of Chaksus Manvanta, which is 6th Manvanta, which is one before us. Right now it is 7th Manvanta, which is Vaivasat Manu. Okay. So, like I mentioned, there are 14 Manus in a day of Brahma, ruling the whole universe. So, during this Chaksus Manvantar, was the 6th Manvantar, we are on. So there was a great king named Satyavrat, who was a great devotee of Supreme Personality of Godhead. He performed austerities by subsisting only on water. So we'll give you a little bit story or history on this thing, how fish incarnation helped Satyavrat Muni. Okay, first of all, I want to give a little bit description on a feature of the fish incarnation. The fish, he has a beautiful golden form, okay, and horn, which you can see there is a horn. And also, as far as the size is concerned, is 8 million mile long. It's very hard to perceive with our small mind here, But the size of the fish was 8 million mile, not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 million miles long. Okay. So this Matsya avatar appears first, as I discussed, when the Veda was stolen. And now second time, it was the story like this. One time, King Satyavrat was offering oblations of water in the river. Okay, so a small fish appeared in his palm. When he threw it back into the water, the fish appeared to be frightened and requested the king to provide shelter. So the king took the fish and placed it in a jug that he has. So when he did this, then fish expanded. So the king transferred it to a well. However, it expanded again to the size of the well. So he transferred it to a big lake. Okay. So in that lake also, what happened? That fish quickly grew to a size of a lake, and then the size of a reservoir into which it was placed. Now, even in the ocean, it was too small for a fish to be there. And you know that fish cannot live without water. If you take fish out of water, what will happen? Fish will die, you know. And if we stay in water, we will die. We'll have to stay on earth, you know, like that. So every species has its own place to live on. So even in the ocean, now what is happening? Understanding this fact that how this fish from a small, big, grew so big. So the king was surprised, and then because he was a quite intelligent person, Vaivasat Manu is not an ordinary personality. He quickly understood that he is the personality of Godhead, you know. So he prayed and requested, and he offered his obeisances and inquired as to the reason for Lord's descent, you know. So the Lord instructed the king. Now, this is the good part of it, that what the Lord told here, Lord in the form of a fish told to Satyavrat that now you gather all the sages, all the herbs, all the seeds, all the living being, everything that you have, and put them in a boat. You can see that boat here in the ocean of inundation, and it tied to the horn of fish there, right? So then he said that he would save them from an impending universal flood, because there's gonna be devastation of water all over the place. There is water. So, and then what happened? It rained for 7 days throughout the world, you know, causing the great flood. And Lord Matsya appeared on the scene to rescue the king boat, which you can see it in the slide. The king anchored his boat on the horn of Matsya using Vasuki as a rope. See, I mean, because it was so long fish, so you have to have Vasuki. Vasuki rope is kind of, there are many kind of reptile, Vasuki, cobra, Sesana. So Vasuki, we will see in the next incarnation, Vasuki is also as a rope to churn the ocean, you know. So we'll look at that tomorrow. So this Vasuki as a rope, you can see here, tied to the horn in a boat, and then offered prayer to worship him. The Lord delivered Vedic knowledge to King Satyavrat, and he guided the boat until the rainstorm and the flooding ended. So here, the fish incarnation purpose was to save both Vedas as well as to favor the Satyavrat Muni. And that is how fish incarnation fulfilled his mission. Lord has fulfilled his mission as a fish incarnation like that. So I think it's about time to stop. I will stop and open up the session for question and answers. Thank you very much for listening this good katha of Avatar. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for wonderful class. So I request to all the participants, please raise your hand if you have any question. So we will ask you one by one. So the first one is Ananya. Ananya, please unmute yourself.
Okay, so I have a question and a comment. So I have two questions and a comment. My first one is that did Brahma ever get out of his lotus flower?
Brahma,
Or did he just did Brahma always stay sitting on the did Brahma stay sitting on the lotus flower, or did he ever get out of his lotus flower?
yeah, he has to get out of, because Brahma has its own, Satya Loka, it is called, topmost, where his big office is there, So yes, this is his birthplace, but he did come out.
Okay, and the question and comment is both the same thing. So like how you said about the war and Nad Muni, I actually have a book about everything you're saying, like this one and this one.
Mm-hmm.
So my question about this is that can I also use this book to keep track of things? So can I just use this book to keep track of things you're saying about if I don't, because I don't have the Srimad Bhagavatam book. So can I just book? It
Yes.
has it has everything and more of what you're saying.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. If you have any questions
Had it
regarding,
for quite a while.
yeah, as long as you got that book from where?
I have no idea. It's been a while since I got this book.
Oh, okay. So the only thing, sometimes you have to be careful about the content. I don't know whose author is at this point that you're showing me the book, but I don't know the author. But anyway, they are good books. But the sometimes depending on the author, you have to be very careful with the content in the book that is given. Sometimes it varies, but the complete base is Srimad Bhagavatam.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So if anything differs from Srimad Bhagavatam, that may not be true. Or sometimes it may be complying with this another, there are some other Sattvic Puranas also, If it is within that category, then it is okay also. Like that. Okay.
Okay, thanks, Bapuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
The next one is Varshini. Varshini, please.
Okay, so my question is like you know that you showed me that fish picture. There's like the fish, and then in the sea there's like a cat or something like that, and he's holding like a knife. And who is he?
Holding like a knife?
Yeah, he's like. So he is so.
Is it Dattatreya or?
Like, so he's upside down and he's like kind of holding like a rope or something, or like a knife.
Okay. So you saw that in a slide?
No, like the one that you just showed us.
Oh, okay. So let me go to the slide and you tell me what it is. I'll try this. Share the screen here.
He's asking for a demon.
Huh?
What is the name of the demon?
Oh, Haigriva.
Oh, okay.
Haigriva. Okay. Anything else?
Varshini, do you have another question?
No.
Okay. Thank you. The next one is Mishita. Mishita, please unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
So my question is, like I have three questions actually. So, my first question is, like, right now you told me, like, you told us a lot of incarnations. So, can you tell me who are those incarnations?
So far,
No, like I meant, like, so you told us the incarnations. So, what person who made those incarnations?
okay, the first one is Kumaras, right? They born from Brahma's mind, Kumaras. Then Varaha is second incarnation that came out from the nose of Brahma. Third is Narad Muni, who born from the lap of Lord Brahma. And there is fourth incarnation is Nar Narayan. Fifth is Kapil Bhagwan.
Okay.
Sixth is Dattatreya. 7 is Yagna. 8 is Rushabdev. 9 is Prithu Maharaj. And 10th, what we last did today is Matsya Avatar, fish incarnation.
Okay, so my next question is, like, you just told us these incarnations. So, who made these incarnations? Which is the person, like?
They all come from Lord Krishna.
Oh.
All incarnations come from Lord Krishna.
Okay.
That means his expansion, which is Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. You know, from Lord Krishna, we see that Balaram from Sankarshan, Mahasankarshan, right? And then the Karanadakshayi, Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. So the Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, from where all the incarnations emanates.
Okay. So, the next question is, like, Prithu Maharaj. Prithu Maharaj. Who's the father of Prithu Maharaj?
Vena, Anga.
Huh?
Actually, he came out by churning the arm of his father. So
Okay.
we will learn the story in Prithu Maharaj chapter when we go to, but just for your curiosity at this point, Prithu Maharaj's father, Vena, was not a good king. So the sages sort of killed him, and they took his arm and churned it. And from there, Prithu Maharaj came, because these rishis were very powerful personality. They prayed to the Lord, so they got Prithu Maharaj to rule the kingdom. From the churning of that hand of his father, whose name was Vena.
Okay. So can you repeat his father's name?
Vena.
Vena.
Yes.
Okay.
V-E-N-A.
V-E-N-A.
Yeah, we will have a whole Prithu Maharaj chapter there when we go to Srimad Bhagavatam. You know, we will learn about him so much.
Okay.
Right now.
So my last question is, my last question is, you told us incarnations. Can you tell me how many incarnations there are?
There are so many innumerable, but in this chapter that 22 is described.
Okay.
So we have done 10 today. So there are 12 more.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
The next one is Hemant. Hemant, please unmute yourself.
Can you show all the slides? I'm gonna take some screenshots.
Okay. Okay, which one you tell me? Today we started from this point.
Can you do it from the first incarnation?
Okay. Okay, this is the first incarnation.
Okay. The next one.
Next one is Vara. This is both incarnation. Vara, to save the earth, is incarnation, and he came out from the nose of Brahmas. And this is Narad Muni, who came to preach devotional service. Is Nar Narayan, they are Arjuna and Krishna. There is Kapil Bhagwan. His father was Kardama Muni. There is Dattatreya. We started from here today. Dattatreya, his mother was Ansuya. And then we did the Yagna and the Rushabdev. And Rushabdev has 100 sons. The eldest was King Bharat, and from whom the name of the India came about, Bharat. And then Prithu Maharaj, and then fish, which was 8 million miles long. So this is all we learned today. Any question?
No, that's all, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yes, Prabhu. The next one is Sinigdha.
The material that you're reading, can you like share it and put it in the group, please?
No, that is not possible for us. If you want to listen again, you have go to our YouTube channel and see whatever you want. We have to post our class to there.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Krishna. The next one is Charit.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Acharya.
So my question is, who is the oldest Kumara?
Who is what?
In the four Kumara, like the four
Yeah.
Kumaras, who's the oldest?
They all same age. They all came out same time.
Oh,
Yeah. They came from the mind of the Brahma, Manasa Putra.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hare Krishna. Okay. Anybody else?
Yes, Prabhu. The next one is Nimisha. Nimisha, please unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
So my question is, you told us about Matsya Avatar, right?
Yes.
Why did Krishna come as a small fish and not as a big fish?
Well, I mean, he was, so it's just a story he mentioned there that when Satyat Muni was taking bath over there, normally we find small fish in a lake or river or somewhere, right? So it just is a story. It happened to him. That is what is mentioned here, you know. And from small, it became large and large and large, right? You heard that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is to show that, you know, the potency of the Lord, that he can take, like Vara came out from the nose of Brahma. At that time it was small, but, you know, then it became like bigger than even elephant in the sky, you know, that Vara avatar, like that. So this is all Lord's inconceivable potency, Achintya Bed.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
So, Prabhu, should we take four? There are 4 more hands to raise. So, should we take it?
Yeah, if they have a time, we can take it.
Okay. Okay. The next one is Rishan.
Who is a Tejaswini raising hand?
I didn't see. There is Shlok, Rishan, Suraj, and Sanvi. Which I see.
Okay. Okay, who's next?
Rishan, please ask your question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
So I'm actually kind of confused with the Haigriva demon. I thought there was like a Haigriva Vishnu avatar, which is a horse avatar who killed Kaitaba and Madhu
Yeah,
demon.
but this is demon name also Haigriva here.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
You're
Hare
welcome.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
The next one is Suraj. Suraj.
Mataji, my question is similar to the previous question. I also thought that the Hayagriva's incarnation was Vishnu, but then I thought that it's the demon, and there's also a demon Hayagriva who had a boon that he can have a horse head whenever he wants, and whenever he wants he can get a human head, and only the person who's named Hayagriva can kill him, and also the person who has the same power as him, that he can change into Hayagriva head, he can kill him, and they can only kill him when he has his horse head.
Yeah, there may be, yeah, that is regarding about, like I said, there are some more names of incarnations which are not here described in detail in this chapter, only 22. There are some other incarnations, Haigriva and all these things are there. And there are some stories what you are saying, there are.
Okay, but it's kind of confusing.
Why? What is confusing to you?
Like, it's kind of like that demon got just turned to life again and then came again to attack, I think.
Oh, you're talking about a Haigriva incarnation.
No, I'm talking about the demon Hayagriva.
No, the demon.
Like,
demon
Hayagriva was the incarnation killed. He killed the other Hayagriva, who's the demon.
No, he's not the same person.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not the same person. The name is same, but it's not the same. Sometimes there are a person have a different person, but the same name, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. The next one is Sanvi. Sanvi, please unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
My question is, can you show all the slides again that
Sure.
we learned today?
Sure. Okay. Let me do it for you. Okay. Okay. So I will play from the very beginning here. Okay. And move forward. Okay. You tell me when to stop. Okay. If you have any question on some slide, I'll keep moving. You tell me when to stop. Okay. So this is the first incarnation, second incarnation, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, Dattatreya, 7, Yagna, 8, King Rushabh, 9, Maharaj Pruthu, and 10, Matsya Avatar, fish incarnation. That is the last one we did today.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
You're welcome.
Shlok, do you have any question? Nihal, please unmute yourself.
So who was the brother of Dattatreya?
There was no brother of Dattatreya.
Okay. So you got your answer, Nihal?
Yes, but who had brothers? Like
No, the Dattatreya, so Atri and Ansuya.
lights.
Okay. Atri, he's like a, all three took in one person, like Brahma, Vishnu, and Lord Shiva. That became Dattatreya.
Oh, now I got it.
Okay.
So thank you so much, Prabhuji. We take all participant questions. So thank you so much once again. So we
Thank
have
you.
to wind up our class.
Okay. Hare Krishna to everyone. Thank you everyone for listening. I will leave the screen now.